towards 2026.
I cannot also fail to notice that just in July there was a by-election last year in, I think, Oyamu North, which was won again by Dr. Eunice Otuko Apio. Again, it appears now Uganda People's Congress is on a serious resurgence in Lango and northern Uganda.
Definitely, we have, but the occurrence has been unfortunate in that we've lost 2 members of parliament in the sub-region within a relatively short time. But we had been preparing for the next round of elections, and these unfortunate circumstances provided an opportunity to test our mobilization strategies and our preparations for the general elections. So I think, basing on those results, we are definitely on the right track, and you'll be seeing more of the mobilization beyond the Lango sub-region as we move ahead.
I know there would be people who would be saying, well, what would you expect? This is Lango. This is the base of the super politician, the late Apollo Milton Obote.
They're free to think what they want, but it has not been easy. Even the seats which we hold have not come just by sitting back. There has to be a lot of effort. The last elections under COVID rules did not favor us in any way. The methodology of campaign, the resources required, was very disadvantageous to us as Uganda People's Congress. So we could have definitely done better than what we were able to do, but now we're preparing for 2026. So if they want to just hold the opinion that this is expected, well and good, but for every seat I am going to put every effort to be able to win.
It appears, Honorable Jimmy Akena, with all respect, the opposition, group or boat seems to be moving through very murky waters. Can we say now that it's the Uganda People's Congress that could steer or captain the boat that seems to be going through rough political seas as of now?
I think all of us as political players need to put the best foot forward. The final output is what is going to determine the future of Uganda. So it's important that we give our level best. Despite whatever internal contradictions we're going through, we must be able to present something which is workable, viable, and useful to the benefits of the citizens of Uganda. So we must do everything within our powers to make sure that we solve our contradictions, whatever they are, and present a case for the future of Uganda. Us in Uganda People's Congress will try to do our best, but like other parties, we do have our contradictions, but we'll try to overcome them as best as possible.
You seem to be really crushing what nowadays is in the vogue, the hereditary politics, where when somebody passes on, their daughter or their son takes over. It looks like you're dealing a crush on this. You're looking for maybe a man or woman of substance, not necessarily somebody who's related by blood.
And I am doing what I can for my party and support my candidates. But all the candidates, we go through a process. The candidates are not determined by the party. It's determined by the party structure at that individual level. Like for Yam North, it was a constituency conference, which gave us Dr. Eunice Apio. In Dokolo, it was a district conference, which gave us Sarah Aguti. But both these candidates were our candidates in the 2021 general elections. But with UPC, you still have to, before any election, it's a process which determines the candidate. So the moment the relevant conference gives me a candidate, that's my candidate, and that's the candidate I will fight for and campaign for.
How do you intend to transplant the successes of Lango to other areas of Uganda so that as you prepare, you said preparing for 2026, how do you intend to transplant that?
There are lessons learned, and also in the Dokolo election, we did bring in teams from outside of Lango to participate, and that one is part of the developing the experience, the knowledge, and we'll have people who will also be able to help across board. So within this period leading to the 2026 elections, there'll be a lot of what I call a cross-fertilization of ideas and strategies, but there'll also be deliberate mobilization efforts to prepare ground and to reach out as we head into the general election period. So there'll be a lot of activities within the party geared towards strengthening the party and preparing it for the 26 election.
But we also know, for example, in a general election, sometimes things are different. All these people who have won now have won in a by-election, a constituency that previously not held by UPC. So it appears, whereas you are good at a by-election in Lang or northern Uganda, when it comes to a general election, you seem to be wobbly. These are two different things. I hope your political strategists are looking at them that way, and then they're looking for maybe a solution in the general election.
I told you, like, the last general elections was a COVID election. You're doing your campaigns under COVID rules. You're not doing campaign rallies. You're doing meetings. There were all sorts of rules which did not favor our style of mobilization and activities. Now, yes, there are differences between the two. You're able to concentrate resources within a small area in a by-election, which you cannot do in a general election. In a general election, every constituency has to be somewhat self-contained in order to be able to manage the affairs. But elections and campaigns are still relatively the same. So the experience which is gained across board will help. So a lot of the team which we use are aspiring candidates, so they get a hands-on experience outside of them being the direct candidates. So we had a lot of aspiring candidates participating in the support of the party structure in this by-election. And I think all parties had huge teams on the ground. So it does not create any advantage in a by-election. I think those who have more resources available to them were able to deploy the resources. But I think it is clear that we're able to prevail even in those circumstances.
This very result also strikingly, brings you out as the real political kingmaker in northern Uganda, especially when you see that the chairman of NRM, the president of the party of NRM and president of Uganda, was in this race campaigning for his candidate, Adong Okello, and yet you get a resounding victory. You have come out as the real kingmaker.
I am going to do everything I can for my candidates. I don't look at my role as a kingmaker, but I will support my candidates as best as I can. And I hope to increase our numbers greatly. I mean, when we're not going into election just to participate per se, we're there to compete, we're there to win. And so we're definitely on the expansion, and we're going to push it further. And this is not going to stop in Lango, it's going way beyond Lango.
Does this exonerate you from those rumors of, look, the Honorable Jimmy Okello is too cozy with the NRM, and here you are, giving them a political defeat that is resounding?
You see, I don't know where people get that one from, but because every election I've participated in, we have been in competition. I have never stood in an election without an NRM candidate. There always been an NRM candidate. So our what you can call understanding or some degree of cooperation does not include and touch upon elections. Elections, I am UPC, I support UPC. But clearly after the elections, you have a government which is there for 5 years, and of course the policy which will be implemented by that government. So I took a position of not continuing what I could not win in the election after the election. But what we're preparing for 2026 is a clean slate. And as UPC, we want to define where 2026 is going to go.
Okay, Honorable Jimmy Okello. Okay, Honorable Jimmy Okello, hold on to your point. We're going to take a break, and we shall be right back.
The hottest debate on all relevant topics, live on KFM's Hot Seat tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant topics every weekday, 7 to 8 p.m. The K-Zone.
She introduced me to her family last year, but the problem is her family is so demanding.
Whatever affects you, we talk about it.
Recently I came back from school, and guess what? I met his 5 brothers at my place, and then they came with their families, with their kids. Imagine, like
5 brothers.
Yes, the
At
family
your
is very poor.
933. The K-Zone with Doreen.
I made her mom a big shop. But again, she wants me to build her house. And when I talk about it, she starts crying. She starts cursing me. I don't know why. Man, this family, they have lots of problems. They are giving away responsibilities of their dad. I'm now basically losing focus because it's really frustrating.
The K-Zone, Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. to midnight. Only on 933 KFM.
The NSSF Go app gives you the convenience you have always desired. Now you can do everything online without necessarily visiting an NSSF branch. You can self-register to become an NSSF member, register your business or company to get an employer number, and begin making NSSF contributions. Submit your NSSF benefit claims anytime, anywhere using the web or mobile app. Download the NSSF Go app from your mobile app store or visit www.nssfgo.app. Call 0800-286-773 toll free for details. Terms and conditions apply. NSSF, a better life.
This is the best of Easter weekend in StarTimes UPL. Friday, 29th of March, Chitala FC takes on Bull FC in a top-of-the-table clash. At 4 p.m. live on Sanyuka Prime. And then on the holy Saturday, 30th of March, don't miss the Obua Ball as URA takes on Viper SC at 7 p.m. in their new home in Lugogo, live on Fufa TV. Renew your subscription and enjoy the best of Ugandan football. Our league, go for it.
They say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. In the procurement realm that's ever evolving, learning, unlearning, and relearning are key. Resilience is a must, collaboration is paramount, and opportunities must find you ready. Calling all suppliers, procurement experts, the business community, and stakeholders. Join us for the NSSF Suppliers Forum 2024 and stay ahead of the game. Come for a day of opportunities, innovation, collaboration, and growth as we dive into the theme of driving procurement excellence and expanding business opportunities. Happening 3rd April 2024, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Mestil Hotel, Bunyonyi Hall. To reserve your seat and attend in person, call 0773 333 354 or email procurement@nssfug.org. Also streaming live on NSSF socials.
Attention everyone, the Ministry of Health has planned to vaccinate all persons aged 1 year to 60 years old to protect them against yellow fever disease. The mass vaccination will take place in 53 districts in these regions: Kampala, Buganda, Teso, Ankole, and Karamoja. Vaccination is free and available at all government health facilities and outreach posts in these regions. The vaccination campaign will take place from April 2nd to April 8th, 2024. The vaccine is safe, effective, and free of charge and has been approved by World Health Organization and Ministry of Health. This message is from Ministry of Health with support from Gavi.
After a long day, there's nothing better than kicking back and grabbing an extra cold Castle Light.
It's 100% extra cool vibes. But have you seen the new Castle Light bottle? It looks so cool.
Yeah, they really hit refresh. It's a premium new look, but the same refreshing taste.
It has a shiny silver label with an innovative cold indicator that lets you know that your beer is extra cold. When the indicator hits blue, you know it's time for pure refreshment.
It's giving premium. The green neck label is also just such a classic look. What a superior design to match the superior taste.
Don't forget, it's a crisp, easy drinking beer with a full lager taste.
Get refreshed and lighten up. Experience the fresh new Castle Light. Alcohol is not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Please drink responsibly.
933 KFM's Hot Seat. Hear the real story behind the story. Coming right at you. Only on 933 KFM.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest tonight, joining us online, is the President of Uganda People's Congress, Honorable Jim Akena. You know, explain to us, I know you have explained it before, but I don't want to take it for granted that every KFM listener for this program understands the cooperation between NRM and Uganda People's Congress, because, you know, the pulse of the city or the pulse of Uganda is that you have totally been co-opted, even though the results in Dokolo show something different.
I think people suspect or think that any level of cooperation means subservience, which I totally disagree. I've been one of those promoting the need to have political dialogue across the political divide. And this is looking ahead, how we're going to handle our future if we are not able to communicate as different political actors. And I've, of course, exercised this one as best as I could. Within IPOD, we're able to get some ground covered. Of course, not as much as we would have wished, but we got something covered. So it has helped in some areas, it has reduced some tensions, but I remain a staunch, ardent, committed member of Uganda People's Congress. And in every election, my aim is to forward the interest of Uganda People's Congress and to see that Uganda People's Congress prevails. So that will always be my defining position. Obviously, when the election is done, you take the results as is, not as you wish them to be.
Your position must be very difficult to be in, or perhaps you are very, can I even say crafty, or very, a very accomplished politician. I'm saying this because, look, Mrs. Akena can be in the afternoon at State House in Tebe, seated in cabinet, discussing about the NRM strategy of how they can serve Uganda or even stay longer. In the evening, the same Mrs. Akena on a dining table is seated with you, and perhaps you are also talking about on how you can beat NRM. How you navigate that political landscape, only Jim Akena can tell us.
Mrs. Akena is serving the government of Uganda. And the general assumption there will always be a government of Uganda. Currently, the party leading the government of Uganda is NRM, but I don't believe that will always be the case. And therefore, when you have a UPC government leading Uganda, it does not mean that we're going to stop this issue of cooperation. We're going to find ways of how we can reach across the divide and see how we can develop the country. So we need to separate this issue of government and party. When it comes to party issues, we follow our party line. Like I said, there's a government for 5 years. The current government's time, basing on the last election, is coming to an end in 2026. Now, defining what will be in 2026 is what every political party worth its salt should be working on and preparing for.
Because politics really is about getting power and retaining power. Every day you're in the business of how do you retain that power if you have it. So that's why I'm asking that question.
No, that is politics defined by a small group of people or a particular group of people. Politics is about serving the interests of the people of that country. And therefore, you aim for power to serve the people, not how to retain the power, not how to maintain the power, but how that power can deliver the aspirations of the people. At least that is my understanding of competing for power.
Yes, but the people you are competing against in politics are in the business of retaining power.
That is their game. My game is how that power can be used to serve the interests of the people of Uganda. So we come into the elections with a completely different focus. Our intentions are different and our outcomes are different. A UPC government will aim at working and solving the problems of the people of Uganda, not how it can stick in power and maintain power at whatever cost. That is a completely different thing. Success is going to be how we have improved the lives and how we have affected the lives of the people during the term of office. And I think if you look at the UPC record in the past, it justifies on the key areas which it aimed toward, it was able to achieve. And that, of course, remains our focus for the future.
I remember in the Yam North by-election, there was an outcry, including yourself, saying that election was marred by violence and a lot of irregularities, even though you won it. How about the Dokolo election in terms of, was it as peaceful or did you also have to contend with the electoral malpractice?
It was peaceful. By and large, it was peaceful. But there were some lessons which we learned from the Oyam by-election which we were able to apply to make it more difficult for those who had intended to rig. So we did not give them opportunity to reach that level of trying to rig. And those safeguards are lessons, of course, which are going to apply going forward even in the general election.
I want to change the gears a little bit because as a member of parliament, the recently nominated individuals to join cabinet are coming before you. I wonder what you make of the cabinet reshuffle.
I actually don't have much comment on that one because I think that is something which I'll leave to the appointing authority. He probably has his own strategy as to why. But that, whatever strategy it is and whatever hopes he has, I don't think will deter us on the direction which we're going and the preparation which we're making.
So, according to you, this is more of the same, right?
Sorry?
According to you, this reshuffle is more of the same?
With 1 year to the end of term, I think you're trying to, basically 1 year before the full campaigns are on, you're maybe trying to tweak here and there, but this does not look like a game-changing reshuffle or strategy changing.
Right now, the parliament in which you sit is in the eye of the storm. There have been wide-ranging allegations of abuse of public resources by people at the top. And this is actually has enraged the people, especially those on spaces like Twitter, X, or social media. This must be of great concern, isn't it?
Having been inside the parliament and the way parliament has been operating, the revelations were not too much of a surprise, but the detail was actually quite interesting because they did not have access to the detail. But I think all of us need to put our focus more clearly towards 2026, and that can define how we're going to use the resources of Uganda to serve the people of Uganda.
You, as the people's representative, wouldn't you want to dig deep into these allegations, and if there has been gross abuse of public resources, then the law should be made to be, the law should apply?
I would put more effort on the political solution, which lies in the hands of the citizens of Uganda to make their decisions in 2026. I have more faith in that process, or their ability to influence that process, than any other option which is available on the table now.
In a political situation that has been highly commercialized, how are you sure that the political pressure can actually maybe bring in the right people, considering that there's a research that shows when Ugandans are given the money, they're also very faithful, they will give the vote?
Now, a lot of money was used in Dokoro. There was a budget for every village which was being executed by government officials, but that did not give them the results which they desired. So, yes, money can influence, but we need to redouble our efforts and minimize what money is going to be able to do. And when you consider the fact that the money which is being used is taxpayers' money, which should have been there to help the very people who they're trying to keep in the situation which they're in. So in that sort of thing, knowledge can be powerful if you can understand what the money is for and what it could be for. So overall, we have a lot of work to do.
And lastly on this issue, I want your opinion, because we see the other forces of change, whom I'm sure maybe you are inclined to side with, the Forum for Democratic Change and the National Unity Platform, as if they are having factions emerging and they're breaking apart. They are in constant battles. What do you make of these?
It does not augur well for me, because I would rather see strong, viable political parties which are operating on a level which can take us forward. So I cannot rejoice when other parties are in problems, because it would be self-defeating if we have all sorts of parties which are weak but not able to clearly articulate what should be done. So it's a sad moment that some of the parties are going through such difficulties.
The Honorable Jim Aken, I want to thank you so much. What's going to be your parting shot?
I'll just let everyone know that get ready to see a new and resurgent UPC going towards the 2026 election.
Jimmy Akena, President, Uganda People's Congress. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back.
KFM's Hot Seat. It's hot, it's live, provocative, and digs deep into the issues. It's KFM's Hot Seat. The mighty breakfast.
933, 933.
hottest debate on all relevant topics live on KFM's Hot Seat Tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant topics every weekday, 7 to 8 p.m.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amar. I'm now joined by my namesake, the Honorable Engineer Patrick Amret Oboy, the President of Uganda of Forum for Democratic Change. Thank you so much for joining us, Engineer. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Patrick, and a good evening to listeners of KFM. Very happy to be in the show. Thank you for having me in the show.
Just a short while ago, I was speaking with the Honorable Jim McKenna of Uganda People's Congress. Of course, his candidate, Sarah Guti, carried the day in Dokolo. You know, in that by-election that was in your hands before that unfortunate death of the Honorable Cecilia Guar. Forum for Democratic Change, you tried your best, but your best was not good enough. What do you think went wrong in Dokolo?
Well, first and foremost, it's true that we went to Dokolo, tried to redeem that position in Dokolo, and our candidate presented a strong case for election. For her election to replace the person who incidentally was her mother. And I think that Dr. Rosemary Alwoch-Ogwal presented a very strong case to the people of Dokolo. Unfortunately for us, of course, the UPC and the other political parties that had candidates had their own ideas. And I believe that represented, probably convinced, the UPC convinced the people of Dokolo more than we could convince them to adopt their agenda. What listeners need to understand is that Rosemary Alwoch presented herself as somebody who was coming to complete what had been left undone owing to the demise of the Honorable Cecilia Atimo Ogwal Barbara, who was a member of the FDC and flag bearer in the contest of 2021. And I think her approach was legitimate because she did work with her mother in carrying out some of the activities in implementing projects on the ground. And so when we presented our case to the people of Dokolo, they seemed to appreciate, but this didn't turn out not to be the case when it came to the vote where we came third. My own feeling is that this particular campaign was treated with a lot of propaganda and negative propaganda to the persons of the FDC candidate, which propaganda was properly marketed by our friends in the UPC. And I think one of the things that stood out in this election and the message that was being passed to the people is that Dr. Rosemary Alwoch-Ogwal is alien to the people of Dokolo, having been, born elsewhere. And I think really this is the dilemma that our sisters and mothers who run for political office find themselves. Whether they are associated to a district by marriage or by birth. Sometimes even when they are associated to a district by marriage, they are seen as alien to that district, and they are always advised to go to contest in their district of birth. This played out so much against us, and I think at the end of the day, what the people of Dokolo were looking for is a person who they were confident would be, if they died, buried in Dokolo. Secondly, of course, and the advantage that the candidate of the UPC had against all of the other candidates is that this was the third time she was running for the same office. She did contest in 2016 against our late mother, Cecilia Ogwal, and successfully. She did also contest in 2021, albeit unsuccessfully. And you can have a feeling that such a candidate would always win a sympathy vote from the population. She's tried so many times and failed. Maybe she has something that she wants to present to the people of Dokolo that we have not quite understood. Let us give her a chance. And so there she stood an advantage over the rest of the candidates. Thirdly, there was also excessive use of money. And I saw this happening everywhere. And the manner in which our politics is conducted, we in the FDC would always want to run clean campaigns. But, there is this menace of people having to bury voters. And this was clearly seen in these particular elections. I really would like to credit the security operatives in the district for not interfering in this particular election. I think of all the by-elections that I've been to, this has had the least interference by the security forces. And I think that is a positive. And the peaceful people of Dokolo also helped this to happen, to turn into an election that was free of violence. There were a few incidents that we suffered, especially arrests of some of our supporters, our members, campaigners, even vote protectors who were incarcerated in a central police station in Dokolo.
Honorable Boy, I just want to pick out this. Are you really telling Ugandans and FDC supporters that the current problems you have within the party did not play out in Dokolo to cause you this kind of loss? Because let's face it, at the moment, things are falling apart. You have senior party leaders who are opposed to you, and that could have had an effect.
Not to the extent that we would lose the way we did. It's true, admittedly, we have got internal problems that are, by the way, coming down every day. I do not think that this situation that we are in as a party would influence what happened in Dokolo. As a matter of fact, we are working hard to mend the fence, and I would like to inform listeners and particularly FDC supporters that there are talks between us and our friends to try to strike a common understanding that would see most of them, or if not all, returning to the fold. And so really our friends, I don't think, would have capacity to, or even interest in undermining the efforts of our candidate in Dokolo. They wouldn't do that. We never noticed their presence there unless, they did it in other ways. All that we think that happened is that propaganda campaign that was unleashed against our candidates.
You must be having a strategy, and this gives you a challenge, because if you get 8,168 votes and the candidate who beat you got 23,000, then it means that when it comes to 2026 general election, you have to work extremely hard for you to be able to maybe prevail. And it's going to be a big challenge, isn't it?
There is no doubt we go into any campaign and work hard really to achieve what we have always achieved. But not worth noting is the fact that the Dokolo is an opposition stronghold. There's no doubt about that. The late Cecilia Wal, a team, Barbara, garnered over 32,000 votes in the election of 2021. Those were FDC votes, those were opposition votes. This time around, we managed 8,000, and the UPC candidate moved from a mere 10,000 that she garnered in 2021 to now being supreme at 22,000 votes. Now, when you add 8 to 22,000, or thereabout, or 23, that is the total opposition vote in Dokolo. The low turn-up notwithstanding. Of course, there was low turn-up this time, and we still, collectively had almost 31,000 votes against the NRM 14,000. That is an indicator that those votes are for the opposition. And from among the opposition ranks, it is that opposition political party that convinces the people of Dokolo of their agenda that will take the majority of those votes. And so nobody should write us out in as far as the politics of Dokolo is concerned. We are going to merely up our game. I think we are going to talk internally to see whether Dr. Rosemary Alwoj Ogwal is still interested, and whether the odds won't come against her in the next election that came against her in this by-election. And therefore, there will be internal reorganization to convince the people of Dokolo that our candidate is the best candidate to take the majority of the 32,000 votes that are assigned by the people of Dokolo to the opposition.
All right, Honorable Patrick Oboy, hold on to your point, sir, because we're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back.
KFM's Hot Seat. It's hot, it's live, provocative, and digs deep into the issues. It's KFM's Hot Seat. KFM.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My guest joining me online is the President of the Forum for Democratic Change, the Honorable Patrick Oboy Amugat. And before we took a break, you're talking about reorganization, internal reorganization as we move to 2026. But for those listening to you, really, some of them might think it's going to be a Herculean task, a big challenge for you to reorganize, because you have the big guns in your own party who are actually opposed to you. How do you reorganize?
Well, I think that nobody should really doubt our capacity to go into an election in an organized formation, because we have ever done this before. You listeners will recall that we came out of the ashes when General Muntu and a fair number of key leaders within the political organization called FDC decided to jump ship and go and form a new political party. Even when that happened, we were able to pick up the pieces, work around whatever we had as an obstacle, and put our forces together, and still had a presidential candidate who may not have performed well under the circumstances. That can be understood. We also went on to post a number of candidates for different political positions, including over 250 who contested to become members of parliament. The returns clearly were competitive in as far as our previous performance is concerned, and we posted 32 members of parliament, which is not a mean achievement given the situation in which we were. In this case as well, given our past experience, nobody should doubt our ability to get the party family in our control, and also to convince the public of our being robust and afloat. And so we are going to go around the country. You might have known by now that candidate identification has started in earnest, and very soon we'll be training our candidates. And by the way, many people have expressed interest for various positions in different elections, and I'm very confident that we are going to perform even much better than we did in the past.
But the group in Katonga will surely use the results of Dokolo by-election against you.
Well, I think that some people have tried to pull the rug on us but I have explained, everybody knows that we presented a very good candidate, actually the best candidate of all the candidates in terms of intelligence, in terms of knowledge, in terms of articulation, and other variables that go with a good leader. And I believe that even all our fellow competitors know about this. We also presented a strong campaign. But as I've said, the situation that played out in Dokolo was really beyond our control. I think that anybody who wants to demean the FDC should have presented a candidate. I think that it would have been a good thing if the naysayers, as you want to call them, Katonga group, had presented a candidate and competed with our candidate. They didn't present a candidate, and so they really do not have a moral authority to judge us. And so we are not going to listen to naysayers. We are not going to pay attention to people who want to pull the party backwards, who impede the progress of the party. We are going to be forward-looking and keep our eyes on the ball. That is what we have decided to do. We'll talk less and do much more than we speak about.
They will also look back at 2021 and say, look, in 2021, the FDC lost her majority. It's no longer the biggest opposition party. And now these by-elections, FDC is not doing well. That is not a very good trajectory.
Every political organization has its ups and downs. There's a time you'll go up, and a time that you'll come down. Even those who are up at the moment will come down one day. And depending on the political environment, that could happen to any political party, including the leading opposition political party in the country today. But that said, really, what we strive to do is to perform excellently. And no naysayers will not stop us from working hard to cause progress in the party, for us to score better in different spheres of politics in this country. And so I want to say that, yes, we are open to criticism. We are open to positive criticism. But, we are not going to listen to negative criticism. Well, that is really something we do not want to respond to.
How about having some form of understanding so that we no longer have what many now have called the Katonga and Najanankumbi, factions, really, for everybody to come back into the fold?
By the way, there are no factions in the FDC. We have only one FDC, registered political party, coming to 20 years now, with a registered address and recognized leaders. Whereas we do not stop anybody, pretending or masquerading or posturing. The real power, people who are in the driving seat of the FDC, reside in Najanankumbi. And that is our address. That is registered. 1164 Entebbe Road. And, you want to demean the political organization that we have fought so hard to put together and sustain, by just, making a very careless statement, I must say. I would like you to wake up to the fact that the decisions of the FDC are taken by the organs of the FDC, the working committee, that the president, in which case, make no mistake about this, the president is power, presides over. The National Executive Committee that the president chairs, and in this case the president is Patrick Oboy Amuriat. We have got National Council, which is presided over by the chairman, and the chairman is Jack Sabiti. We have the National Delegates Conference, presided over by the chairman, called and presided over by the chairman, the Honorable Jack Sabiti. No other person is recognized.
Okay, now, before we conclude, I really want to hear your comment on the recent cabinet reshuffle. What do you make of that reshuffle?
I see that Mr. Museveni is getting rid of the old guard systematically. I'm even surprised that Otafire has stayed there, because I'm sure that he's seen as an inconvenience to Museveni's plot longevity, including, handing over power to his son, General Wozi Kainerugaba. And I think this is really the dilemma of Uganda, because we cannot really afford to see somebody in the position of head of state systematically causing an extension of his reign in power through family ties. I think that is being unfair to the people of Uganda and, being ungrateful to the welcome that the Museveni regime was given by the people of Uganda. What I see in the cabinet is, first and foremost, an attempt to try to get rid of corrupt individuals. But, this is, again, targeted. It is Kitutu and Nandutu. The others who were found culpable of stealing iron sheets are still in cabinet. The second thing that I see is a systematic creation of a formation that would support the possibility of a Muhoozi presidency. And there is no doubt, you know that Balamu is being picked from nowhere and being made a minister. There are many people who are competent within the NRM party who would have deserved becoming minister. I can see my sister from Kitgum, Liliana Bear, who has been shouting a lot about Muhoozi and supporting the Muhoozi project, also being vetted to become Minister of State today. And then, the removal of General Mbadi, who is a seasoned military officer and, being relegated to the level of minister. Somebody might say, okay, hierarchically, he's top in the hierarchy. But, in terms of political influence, I think the position that he held was more, on the top echelons of political influence than the position that he has been appointed to. I see also people like General Lwelu, hardened people, battle-hardened people, being relegated from being a deputy commander of the army and taken to become an advisor. And, we have hundreds of advisors who never get to advise Mr. Museveni. It's really the same funny things that playing mind games on the people of Uganda while gaining political traction towards handing over power from father to son.
Thank you so much, Honorable Patrick Oboy, for the time you have given us, for the value you have added on our platform, for the new information we've had from you. We wish you the best in your strategies as you move 2026.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Hot Seat. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same station. Good night and God bless Uganda.
The hottest debate on all relevant topics, live on KFM's Hot Seat tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant